The two Americans in Iraq are suddenly tried and punished, dashing hopes back home of a reunion. One-time champ turned convicted rapist Mike Tyson is released. Big money should follow. And drawing the link between the cult and Tokyo's deadly attack.
From NBC News, this is NBC Nightly News, reported by Brian Williams.
Good evening. Those two Americans being held in Iraq after mistakenly entering that country several days ago were tried, convicted, and sentenced all in the same day. The United States has issued a strong protest asking for the release of the two men, but they've been sentenced to 8 years each for illegally entering Iraq, and hopes for them coming home anytime soon are not high. Our report tonight from NBC's Tom Pettit at the White House.
The Iraqis tried and sentenced 39-year-old William Barloon of New Hampton, Iowa, and 41-year-old David Dalaberti of Jacksonville, Florida. In New York, Iraq's UN ambassador said the case was open and shut.
When there is a violation of law and violation of the sanctity of borders in any country, the local law will have to look into that. There is nothing as innocent unless it's proven.
Despite the obvious barrier along the border, Barloon and Dalaberti strayed into Iraq on March 13th. Accidentally, said the United States. And today the State Department said there is no justification whatsoever for these sentences. We're making it clear that Iraq has nothing to gain through this obvious misguided attempt. The U.S. is saying that it will not allow the two men to be used as bargaining chips. The U.S. is adamant about maintaining the economic sanctions against Iraq, sanctions which have been enforced since the Gulf War. Sources here at the White House say the United States is trying to deal with Saddam Hussein for the release of the two men by going through Polish, French, and Russian diplomats. The president has directed that all U.S. actions be taken through diplomatic, not military channels. It is not clear what would persuade Iraq to free the two Americans. Ambassador Hamdoun says clemency is out of the question. It's all up to Saddam Hussein.
The only man under the Iraqi law that have the right of clemency in this case and other cases is the president.
But for now, the Iraqis say it is a matter of implementing Iraqi law, which means the Americans go to prison, unless the United States can figure out some way to persuade Saddam Hussein to let them go free. Tom Pettit, NBC News at the White House.
We are joined this evening from Indianapolis by Republican Senator Richard Lugar of Indiana, who is on both the Foreign Relations and Intelligence Committees in the Senate. Good evening to you, Senator.
Good evening.
Senator, what should the U.S. reaction to this be?
Well, the president at this point has got to indicate credibility for his own administration and for this country. Unfortunately, the president has been perceived in the past as slow to act and indecisive, and that leads countries to take advantage of it. Saddam Hussein is a master of this. Now, it simply is not true the case is closed. It cannot be closed insofar as this country is concerned. And this may require military action in addition to diplomatic action. Should not rule that out off the top of the head. And I just simply say the president has got not only to watch this thing, in my judgment, he must act and act decisively in a fairly short period of time.
A White House official we spoke with this evening is asking for time, asking that they be allowed to go through diplomatic channels. Let's say the president committed elements of the United States military to a retaliatory strike of some kind. Could you personally justify any loss of American lives?
Yes, I think we have to take that chance. At stake right now is the fact that every country in the world is looking at how the President of the United States and our country handles a gross violation of American civil liberties. Now, I don't know what those people were doing, and we will never know precisely why they wandered or why they were in the vicinity. But the fact is, in a summary trial, secret trial, with representation only by an Iraqi lawyer, we are told, they've been put in prison, and the ambassador to the United Nations has the temerity to say that's it. Case closed, no clemency. That won't do. And other countries will take advantage of us if we leave it at that.
All right, Senator Richard Lugar, Republican of Indiana, we thank you for being with us tonight. Now to the media circus surrounding the release from prison of former heavyweight champion Mike Tyson. He was convicted of raping an 18-year-old beauty pageant contestant in a hotel room. Tyson, who has turned to religion, may return to his lucrative career quite soon. Our report from NBC's Rick Davis.
Long before dawn, news helicopters hovered over the state prison. The lights of limousines flashed in the night, and cameras were ready, hundreds of them from around the world. They captured only a brief image of Mike Tyson, partly obscured by the stretched-out coat of a bodyguard. Tyson issued a written statement. "I'm very happy to be out and on my way home. I want to thank everyone for their support. I will have more to say later." The former heavyweight champion and convicted rapist wore a traditional Muslim prayer cap, a kofi. And the first stop for the Tyson motorcade was the Islamic Center, a few miles from the prison. Among those who joined in a prayer of thanksgiving, former heavyweight champion Muhammad Ali, a convert to Islam. There are reports Tyson is prepared to convert and may adopt a Muslim name. His spiritual advisor, Muhammad Sadiq, says he's seen a great growth in Tyson.
I've seen a miracle. I've seen the growth. I've seen the development. I've seen the dedication. I've seen the study.
Others who visited Tyson in prison compare him to another charismatic one-time inmate.
I was reminded immediately of Malcolm X and his sojourn in prison. You see, it is a hard classroom, prison. However, it can be an effective one.
By mid-morning, Mike Tyson left Indiana, destination his farm in Southington, Ohio. And a few young supporters of the former heavyweight champion were there to say welcome home. So were the cameramen, but here they had even less luck than those who had waited in the early morning hours. The Tyson motorcade went through the gate fast. But Mike Tyson is not a totally free man. He'll be on probation for 4 years. One mistake, and he could be back in a prison. Rick Davis, NBC News, Plainfield, Indiana.
And we'll be back with more news right after this.
Life of trouble and triumph started here on Amboy Street in Brooklyn, New York.
You must understand, boxing does not get its recruits from the reception line at the local cotillion and debutante ball. These are hard kids. Mike Tyson is part of it.
His trainer, mentor, and eventual guardian, Cus D'Amato, rescued Tyson from himself and taught him to be a great fighter. As D'Amato predicted, Tyson became the youngest heavyweight champion ever at age 20. Author Joyce Carol Oates befriended Tyson when writing her book titled On Boxing.
He was a very nice, thoughtful person when we knew him. Now, like all boxers, he had another self.
That other self always seemed to put the heavyweight champ in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. There were accusations of sexual misconduct, a stormy marriage to actress Robin Givens, mysterious car accidents. Then he was knocked out by a little-known underdog and lost his championship title. 24 months later, his rape conviction put a spotlight on a woman's right to say no. After nearly 3 years in prison, Tyson still won't admit to being a rapist. Most people believe Tyson will go from the cell to the ring. It's the only job he's ever known and the only place he's proven to be successful.
I think now he'll settle down, concentrate, and give all of himself to boxing because that's his last straw. In other words, if he fails there, forget about it. That's the end.
In the lackluster heavyweight division, even without his crown, Tyson is still the man. Promoters and heavyweight champs alike even courted him at the prison, hoping to share an estimated $100 million payday. On his hometown streets of Brooklyn, Tyson is still admired for being a man who made it out.
We think he's a hero, you know. We give him a lot of respect.
He was one of the fortunate ones who found a way out.
He'll go right back into training, and maybe he will be able to elude this fate that's been hounding him of self-destruction.
For Mike Tyson, the once dominating champion, the question is, will he again be his own most dangerous opponent? John Frankel, NBC News, New York.
When NBC Nightly News continues, what the trail has turned up in Japan, all eyes on one group. And later on, children in need of a place to call home.
Ever notice how when you're comfortable, everything feels right? Well, your friends at Depend have been working on comfort. Your comfort. Introducing new Depend undergarments with a cloth-like outer cover. Look, it's softness you can see, softness you can feel. For the most comfortable protection ever from Depend. Protection you trust. New cloth-like comfort. Depend. because you've got a lot of living to do.
Everybody has morning breath. Unfortunately, not everybody has scope.
Now you can get 50% off frames at LensCrafters. 50% off every frame we carry.
LensCrafters 50% off all frame sale.
This is a great deal. People should not miss this.
Hurry, LensCrafters offer ends soon.
I just had one of the best dinners I've ever had, and it was under $10.
Now, at Red Lobster, every day we have 15 dinners under $10. Enjoy the seafood you love, like tender shrimp, juicy grilled fish, even sweet snow crab. And each meal includes hot bread and fresh tossed salad.
With 15 dinners under $10, you can bet I'll be back.
Tonight, try a half pound of snow crab with a large portion of scampi in our $9.99 crab and shrimp dinner, only at Red Lobster.
In Japan today, police investigating that secretive doomsday cult believed to be responsible for Monday's subway attack made some disturbing discoveries today. Among them, a secret underground bunker beneath their compound and enough nerve gas to annihilate millions of people. NBC's Lucky Severson is in Tokyo tonight.
According to news reports here tonight, police have identified chemical residue collected from an Omu Shinrikyo compound last summer that matches a sample taken from the Tokyo subway attack and another attack in which 7 people were killed in rural Japan last June. And investigators may have come across the motive. The day before the subway attack that killed 10 and sickened more than 5,000, police were preparing to raid the Omu compounds, and thousands of officers were given a special training session on how to use gas masks. Police sources now speculate that the cult may have struck on Monday as a warning. It would fit a pattern of intimidation through fear that is becoming apparent as the world learns more about this militant group. The Japanese National Police are now investigating 110 complaints against the Omu, everything from kidnapping to forcible confinement to manslaughter. And they are implicated in 40 cases of missing persons. Police say most were taken against their will. Members are young mostly and go through a torturous indoctrination involving many different techniques, including long periods of time in water as hot as 122 degrees. They believe that through the wires attached to their heads, they are in constant touch with their leader, Shoko Asahara, to whom they are fervently devoted.
Anyone who tries to escape is handcuffed and locked in cargo containers for a month. This is a very scary group.
Yoshida Suzuki is a lawyer representing families trying to get their kids back. He says cult members have threatened him several times, including this week, and he is frightened. Today, cult leader Shoko Asahara, who is in hiding, broadcast a message to his disciples, accusing the U.S. military of spraying him and hundreds of his followers with sarin and mustard gas. I am seriously sick, he said. Lucky Severson, NBC News, Yamanashi, Japan.
Here in Washington today, a lot of noise about welfare reform, an issue that awaits action this week in the Senate. About 400 people marched on Capitol Hill against proposals that would scale back food, housing, and educational assistance to millions of welfare recipients. President Clinton today called the GOP plan weak on jobs as an alternative to welfare. Conflict over the contract with America will be the topic tomorrow on NBC's Meet the Press with Tim Russert. House Majority Leader Dick Armey and White House Chief of Staff Leon Panetta will be among our guests. When NBC Nightly News continues, children in legal limbo caught in the foster care cycle.
There are moments when a champion becomes something even bigger, better. And for Wheaties, that moment is now. The breakfast of champions tastes better than ever. It's a better toasted wheat taste. A bigger crunch. The new taste of Wheaties. The breakfast of champions just got better.
There's nothing soft about the software business, especially when it's yours. Product cycles used to last years. Mine, more like minutes. The money side is a distraction. It's hard to focus on cash flow and 401k plans while your programs are crashing around you.
Take control of your future. A plan from Merrill Lynch can show you how. And a Merrill Lynch financial consultant has more ways to make the plan work for you than anyone else. The difference is planning. The difference is Merrill Lynch.
Just put some
something down.
Jen.
Again.
Cappuccino, ladies.
She has a cappuccino machine.
Vanilla cappuccino, only from Maxwell House.
Delicious. I swear, Rose, one day I'll catch you cheating.
Maxwell House cappuccino, the magic without the machine.
Meet Tracy, a beauty queen, everything to live for, until her attraction to Todd nearly turned fatal. She ended up on trial. The Love Triangle. Dateline NBC Tuesday.
In focus this evening, America's foster care crisis. More than 400,000 children are in the system, victims in a custody tug of war. NBC's Kenley Jones reports tonight on Florida's attempt to deal with the problem.
In Miami, a frustrated foster mother runs away with a 2-year-old rather than return the child to the birth mother's family. A teenager, frustrated by having lived with 9 families in the past 5 years.
You want to call somebody mom, or you want to love somebody, and then you don't know how to, or you don't know if you should, if they're going to do anything to you, or how to respond to them.
Florida, with more than 9,000 foster children, is clearly overburdened. Critics complain that too many children are being poorly served, either shuttling from foster home to foster home or staying too long with parents who are unfit.
These kids need to get out of the system. They need to be in loving, permanent, safe homes.
Gay Corder is a child advocate who says the process could be speeded up by assuring parents with problems they will still be able to see their children if they give them up for adoption.
You say, hey, you don't have to terminate parental rights. You don't have to give up all contact with this child forever. Give up part of the rights so we can put this kid in a safe, permanent home, and the kid isn't going to be moved around.
She used that argument successfully to persuade the divorced parents of 3 sisters who had been living apart to be adopted by one family so they could be reunited.
Hard to believe because you never hear of a family that's willing to take in 3 girls. So it was happy, but it was hard to believe.
As the result of a federal lawsuit filed by child advocates, Florida has agreed to give priority review to the cases of foster children who have been in the system longer than 18 months, reduce the caseloads of foster care workers, and make stronger efforts to recruit competent foster and adoptive parents. The success or failure of social programs depends to a large extent on money. None of those who depend on such programs are more vulnerable to inadequate funding than children.
Do you know what's going to happen on the welfare cut? I saw
the head of Florida's Health and Rehabilitative Services,
I was just over at the Senate, and
which administers foster care, says his department is facing a budget cut of at least $150 million,
the Senate's going to whack that money,
which may make it difficult to honor the agreement.
I'd love to see every child in a much better foster care placement, in an adoptive home. I don't have the money. I can't multiply loaves and fish at the state level.
There's another worry. Welfare reforms being considered by Congress could make it difficult for poor parents to support their families, bringing even more children into the already overburdened foster care system. Kenley Jones, NBC News, Tallahassee, Florida.
When NBC Nightly News continues in a moment from Washington, a gift before dying, our moment of the week.
I sent him to the store to get some Correctol.
What's the difference?
He brings home this.
It was cheaper. What's the difference?
What's the difference?
Year after year, women have trusted one laxative more than any other, Correctol. Its special formula combines a mild laxative with a stool softener for overnight relief that's gentle, predictable.
Hey, this isn't my regular beer.
It was cheaper. What's the difference?
Correctol, the gentle laxative more women trust.
With Fixodent, I can stay active and as confident as I need to, all day.
Even in the hottest liquids, when other adhesives stop holding, Fixodent holds stronger and longer.
That's why I Fixodent and forget it.
Over the last 150 years, all kinds of companies that said they'd be there when you needed them didn't stand up to their promises. That's life. Our policy of thoughtful, prudent investing has kept us, well, a pillar of strength for the last 150 years. That's New York Life, the company you keep.
Hey, if you want 100% of 11 vitamins and minerals from your cereal, try Total. Because to try to get that from Special K, you're going to have to add more than just milk.
Like what?
Perhaps you'd like to start with these. Whole grain Total. One bowl, 100%.
I'll try the Total.
ท่าทางเหนื่อยเชียวอย่างนี้แหละต้องรื้อปรับระบบต้องหาคนช่วยเสียเงินแต่ก็ไม่ดีขึ้นใช่วะอย่างนี้ต้อง IBM เฮ้ยเราต้องซื้อฮาร์ดแวร์เพิ่มสิไม่ใช่ IBM อ่ะเขามีบริการปรึกษาการจัดระบบเขาจะมาอยู่กับคุณจนงานเรียบร้อยเลยหุ้นผมขึ้นเลยครับขายเลยครับ
We are hearing a lot of talk here in Washington and elsewhere these days on the subject of deadbeat parents, especially dads. It is estimated that if they all paid up, 800,000 women and children could come off welfare. In Houston today, a judge did his part. NBC's Jim Cummins reports.
This morning, more than 1,000 people gathered at the courthouse in downtown Houston in an effort to confirm who fathered these kids.
What's your name?
Once you get the people to the courthouse door, the cases begin to settle.
It was a massive court call, more than 500 cases in one day before Judge Harrison Gregg to track down deadbeat dads, make them pay child support now, and pay back what they owe the government for past child support.
What we do is we actively recover that money so that it can be placed back into the general funds of the state and federal government to be reused by other children.
When there was a dispute over paternity, men and children were ordered to give blood samples for DNA tests. If a suspected father refused to do this or didn't show up in court today, he ran the risk of being ordered to pay child support right away. But former Judge Ramona John said there's more at stake here than money for the child who doesn't know his father.
It has to do with his sense of self, with his sense of self-esteem. So I think maybe one of the most important gifts we can give to a child is to establish the paternity of his father.
Marguerite Dowell is hoping to do that for her son Mike, who hasn't seen his father since 1987.
I've never received any help for the care of Mike. He's never called. He's never been concerned. And, you know, I think that it's time that they start taking responsibility. You know, Mike needs his father. He's missed the fact that his father's not been around.
If you have any questions, mothers and fathers.
The judge says he's done this before, called hundreds of paternity cases at one time. He says in about 2/3 of the cases, they do find the father and make him pay. Jim Cummins, NBC News.
A gift from a teenage boy to his blind mother produced our moment of the week this week. It came yesterday in Fort Smith, Arkansas, as Sally Collin was able to see for the first time in 13 years. Her sight was restored because a cornea from one of her son's eyes was transplanted into hers. 15-year-old Christopher died this week after being struck by a car. His other cornea, his heart, his liver, and kidneys were also donated. President Clinton today warned both sides in the baseball strike that what they're doing may threaten the game itself. In a radio interview, the president said the owners and players have to be aware that the game depends on the fans. Quote, if it becomes so painfully clear that it's no longer a sport and it's a business, then the customers may decide to take their business elsewhere. He went on, they're about to run out this string. They need to resolve this, end of quote. NBC News has learned that the White House has remained involved in the issue and in touch with the mediator since the failed attempt at a settlement almost a month ago. When NBC Nightly News continues in a moment, a former baseball player goes home to a housewarming gift from Shaquille O'Neal.
Look, a MasterCard won't make you different or unique, okay? Actually, maybe it will. I mean, millions of people use MasterCard, but yours is meant for you and you alone. So if someone steals it, instead of worrying about people running around pretending to be you, call right away and cancel it. Because, after all, there's only one you. What's more, even if somebody does manage to charge stuff to you, you won't pay a cent. And we may even be able to get you a new card the next day. But just for you. Now, how's that for a useful card? MasterCard, it's more than a credit card, it's smart money.
Now you can enjoy the flavour Ireland is famous for, one freshly brewed cup at a time. With Folgers Irish Cream Gourmet Coffee Singles. Rich coffee with a smooth touch of Irish cream. Savor it.
When I got rid of my gray hair, I wanted a natural look, so I didn't take any chances. I used the sure thing for a natural look called Just for Men.
Apply Just for Men and in 5 minutes, rinse. It's specially timed to blend away gray, bring back your natural look, and condition hair.
It's a sure thing.
Just for Men, the sure thing for a natural look. And now try Just for Men Color Gel for the hard-to-color hair of mustaches and beards. Brush in, rinse out. Just 5 minutes.
Something wonderful is here to tempt you. With tastes you've never had before at breakfast. Kellogg's Temptation Cereal. Irresistible new flavors like honey roasted pecan with twice-baked oven-toasted flakes. Give in to the taste of new Kellogg's Temptations. If the honey roasted pecan doesn't get you, the French vanilla almond will.
Hi, I'm Giselle Fernandez. Sunday on Today, we'll get an inside line on the Academy Awards, and we'll hear from country star Vince Gill. So join us Sunday and see what a difference today makes.
Finally tonight, okay, so even on a bad day, after more than a year off, he is still better than most who ever played the game. But Michael Jordan isn't the only superstar in the game, and the Chicago Bulls aren't guaranteed to win at home, which brings us to last night's game and NBC's Dawn Fratangelo.
It was a city decked in red and black, signs shouting everywhere, "Welcome back."
The man is back.
They were shooting hoops even at O'Hare. Clearly something was in the air.
MJ's house!
It's the Michael Jordan come home.
For Chicago, there can be no sweeter poem. Michael Jordan, welcome home. For fans, it was a glorious return. Michael's first game back in Chicago, but not a happy ending. That belonged to Orlando and their slam-dunking magician. If Michael is king of the court, then Shaquille O'Neal is the prince. He's been the league's reigning star since Jordan's retirement.
There's more than just the on-court one-on-one between these two athletes. There's a bigger, more lucrative duel about to explode in the commercial arena, where the competition will be just as fierce.
Hey, Jordan. Michael sells everything from Nikes to Chevys.
Big good-looking guy.
Shaq, well, all the Shaqs prefer Reebok and Pepsi.
Shaq!
Advertising experts predict a head-to-head battle between the two pitchmen.
Well, the matchup's very exciting. I have no doubt but that Michael will win on every category.
Even when he wasn't playing basketball, Jordan raked in $30 million from endorsements last year. That's more than double the amount for Shaq of $12.5 million. But analysts predict Jordan's return will also be profitable for Shaq.
Well, the basket wasn't always 20 feet tall.
Shaq lately is beginning to show more warmth and more of that charisma that Michael has, and this will make a difference.
A difference, too, for the NBA, which is enjoying higher ratings since Jordan's return. Not to mention Chicago, which seems to be basking in a new light.
Being born all over again, it was great, absolutely great, I love it.
With the playoffs just weeks away, Bulls fans and Michael Jordan hope to be sitting pretty. Dawn Fratangelo, NBC News, the Windy City.
He's pretty good. That is Nightly News for this Saturday. Giselle Fernandez will be here tomorrow night. I'm Brian Williams in Washington. Good night.